left sternocleidomastoid muscle, causing non-union of a broken clavicle. My cousin's wife asked me today, what happened to your clavicle? After I rode my first 100 bicycle ride in one day, I was euphoric and had what is commonly known as runner's high, with all my muscles so loose and relaxed that I was just virtually floppy. The next day I started out beautifully with my feet spinning the pedals, and as usual started out ahead of the crowd because later they always passed me by. About 12 miles out, my group of friends, the heavy-powered riders, caught up with me, and I was able to ride with them. Their 21 miles per hour speed for a distance. There was a light rain falling, but at this time I didn't have good sense. And so the most powerful lawyer in Columbus, who I was flirtatiously trying to impress, was riding alongside me. My handlebars were the wide kind because of my neck problems. I was sitting up erect. He had a glass eye on the right side, and his instincts did not allow him to judge the extra distance on my wider handlebars. He clipped me, and my bike went sliding out from under me. I felt a slight pop at the top of my shoulder, but no pain. The ankle that got caught in the pedal hurt more, and so did the skinned up places. He and the rest hovered over me, and then they got an ambulance. Robbie, the man who had gotten me involved in all this bike riding in the first place, put my collarbone, which was broken, back together. He put it in line. Robbie had broken his collarbone a year before and was experienced enough to know what he was doing. After the ambulance arrived, he put a cervical collar on me to hold the collarbone in place, and I felt no pain. At the hospital, the x-ray technician yanked off the collar, and the piece of bone that was closer to my neck popped up, and the pain was excruciating. This part right here. To make a long story short, the result was that I wore a figure-8 brace to hold my shoulder back, per the usual treatment, but the medial or neck part of the bone stayed popped up, elevated, and healed without uniting. Here I was, a physical therapist myself, and I was in pain for months and didn't know why. When it was x-rayed, it was 2 knobs after it had healed, one 1/4 of an inch above the other, the space, and had no stability, and they moved together, overlapping whenever I used the shoulder. I had continual sharp pain below the medial knob right here in my pectoralis major, which was torn. It wasn't until I realized that the muscle attached to the medial portion of this bone, called the sternal portion, was in spasm and had kept the bone from dropping to its normal place, this muscle had, so it could heal properly instead of overlapping over the other one. Once I used physical therapy measures to loosen this muscle and started pulling the bone down in place, the burning pain below went away. It seemed so simple that I couldn't believe I hadn't figured it out before. The last piece of the puzzle. For years I had listened to a telephone holding this muscle, holding the bone up with this muscle. It's typical of how problems may not present themselves until there is more than one aspect of imbalance. I could have lived with this tight muscle, but the break from the fall gave it an opportunity to pull the bone out of line. So often when I say to a patient, "Oh, you have a scar here that is contributing to the problem," they will say, "But I've had this since I was a child and it was never a problem. Hasn't bothered me." But the cumulative effect of things pulling us awry, combined with the injury, finally causes our body to scream. I will never have the strength in that shoulder because I don't have a stable, strong bone. It's like breaking the strut under an airplane wing. If it is broken, the wing does not have the same stability. In the process of trying to compensate for this lack of stability, I have developed a very strong, tight spasm in the trapezius muscle. I thought, "Oh, goody, I'm getting my strength back." The muscle isn't aching every time I use it. But not so goody that I seem to be having, not so goody because I seem to be having headaches on the left side of my head rather constantly. It took a while to realize that going around with my trapezius, which is the muscle that comes from here and goes down to the back, it was cutting off the circulation to this side of my head because of that constant tension pushing on the soft tissue of the skull. Needless to say, I decided it was better to be weak than in pain. Okay, I'll just read this little paragraph. Did you turn it on?
Yes.
When I was a kid, I had one tooth that stuck out. I think it was this one. I wanted braces because my sister had them. My mother's dentist friend said, "Try pushing it back with a pencil eraser." I did, as there was plenty of boring time during algebra instead of how to read our bodies. Plenty of time doing algebra. My teeth are so even, I've been accused of having false ones. I should probably do that one over again, but I think that ought to be in there because we can make